Hey everyone, good evening. How are we all? Hello. Let me just quickly share this out. Hey Jazzy J, hey Denise, hey Caitlin, how is everyone? Welcome in. Unfortunately, for some weird reason, hey Renee, it didn't stream to the right thing, so I had to quickly go and set everything up. So let me just quickly share this out everywhere. And if you could share this out as well, that would be awesome. Let me just quickly do this. Sorry, guys. And who have we got in here from Periscope is... Hey, Making Racket. Hey, Deirdre. Jazzy, if you're still in... Let me just open up on Periscope. If you're still in Periscope, can you write a little message for me? Because I do want to try and make you a mod in there. Or whatever they call it. An admin or whatever. I've got my Periscope open for a second. Welcome in everyone. We're just going to take a couple of minutes to settle in before we start going into this case. This is a very sad case. It's very interesting. There's so much to talk about with this one. But welcome to everyone here that is subscribed to my channel, that's here in chat or is watching the restream. And if you aren't subscribed, my name's Bridget and I am obviously Australian, but I cover mostly American true crime and some Australian true crime. I do more edited videos for that. So if you are interested in true crime, I would recommend that you subscribe and click the bell to be notified of when I am live next. So I stream on YouTube and Periscope. Hey everyone in Periscope. You unfortunately can't see the chat in that everyone's can't see the talking from YouTube in Periscope, unfortunately. But you still can comment and I can see the comments. So yeah, that's all sorted out. Okay, I'm done there. I'm done. Let's get back and see who we've got in the stream. Hey, Julia. Hey, Miss Justice. Hey, Southern Mum. I think I've said hello to everyone. How are my animals? They are good. It's been incredibly humid here in Australia. I think I mentioned that in my last stream. So Bella's having a little bit of a rough time. I want to do an update video on my other channel. It should be up later tonight for me, in case you are interested in knowing what's going on with Bella. And for those that don't know, Bella is my Staffordshire Terrier pit bull who has terminal cancer. And yeah, I think... Yeah, she's doing okay, but there's some progression, unfortunately, and I don't know. It's probably a couple of weeks until I have to make a decision, I would say. So it's a bit of a hard time. That's why I haven't been mentioning it much. But I will do a proper update video on my second channel, Beautifully Broken Bridget. Let me just see if that comes up with my commands for StreamYard. Yes, I changed Bella's picture as well because the other one looked like she was side-eyeing everyone and I felt bad. Someone asked about the fires. So the fires are better. They're still burning. It's going to take a while. It's going to take months for that situation, for all the fires to sort of stop burning, but we are getting some wonderful assistance worldwide, which is really awesome. So I think that's all of the hey Bunny Bubs, hey Faithful One. I think that's all of the sort of admin for today. I can't think of anything else. No, I don't think there's anything else. I've been working on the letter for Brittany Shank for everyone to sort of put out there. I need to sort of do more with it, add more information. So it should be up and running within a week, I'd say. And then the petition will be up and running then as well. My next stream will be on Wednesday in America, Wednesday night, and we will be going over the Kevin Bacon case because I have new information in that case that's very interesting. But tonight we are going to cover Rachel Henry, who is a mother of 3 beautiful children that you can see at the bottom of your screen, and tragically she murdered those three babies. So we're going to dive into that case tonight. Obviously it's a really hard one, but it's really interesting, and I think that we should talk about what happened. Hey Lady Pegasus, how are you? Thanks, Renee. So welcome in everyone. Get yourself comfortable, ready for the stream. Give the video a like and share it out if you can. That would be awesome. And let's dive in. So this has only happened recently. I'm just trying to find the date. Only a couple of days ago, I know that, but the date should be on her. It should be on the court page. Show you. You just stop. Okay, so it happened 8 days ago, Monday, January 20th. 8 days ago for me, 7 days ago for you guys in America. I think they matter a lot, actually. So the woman that you can see on screen, her name is Rachel Henry. She is 22 years old. She is a mother of 3 children, and she is a meth user. She's a drug user. She had recently moved from Oklahoma, and she moved to Phoenix, Arizona in June of 2019. So she was sort of new to the area. She was living with the daughter of her youngest, her 7-month-old, and her great aunt Pearl. So she has 3 children that you can see on screen. Her oldest is a 3-year-old boy named Zane. The middle child is 1, and her name is Mira. And then her 7-month-old is Catalaya, and her father, Pedro, was the man that lived in the home with her. And they lived in Phoenix, Arizona. And we're going to take a little look at the home soon. So we actually do have a good timeline because she did confess to this and gave a statement that has been released about the timeline of this. She is in custody, yes, Miss Justice. Hey, Jane Doe, how are you? Hey, Amy. Oh, yes, it is. It is. Happy birthday, Lady Pegasus. It is your birthday. I was actually going to message you earlier and ask if I could wish you a happy birthday in the stream. So I'm glad. Enjoy the movies. What movie are you going to see? I don't even know what movies are out. I don't remember the last time I went to the movies, to be honest with you. But yes, happy birthday, Lady Pegasus. Let's all bake cakes in the chat for her. Okay, where was I? So yeah, so we do have, I have her probable cause statement that we will go through and read. It's quite confronting, I will say that. What we do know is that she's in custody. She's been charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. Her family say that she had been acting strange for a few days. And it's just, the whole thing is just I just don't understand it. I also have, she had her first court appearance. I don't remember the date. Let me just check the date. Where is the date? January 21st, so the day after. She had her first court appearance, and she has another court appearance happening on the 31st. So we will be following that, but I do have her court appearance video that I can show you as well. She's being held on a $3 million bail, which means that she has to post, if she wants to post bail, she has to post a $300,000 bond, which she obviously can't pay. Which is really a lot of money, and she doesn't have a job, so I don't think she'll be posting it. I think she'll be staying where she is, probably for the best. Hey, soldier photos. Have I missed anyone else? Hey, Mel Mel. Tag me if I've missed someone. Gonna see Bombshell in gold class. Enjoy. Gold class is lovely. The soldier photo thinks that she had some serious postpartum depression. There's something going on. There has to be something going on here. This happened in Phoenix, Arizona. She's originally from, I do think that she's from, what I read, she was originally from California, but she's lived in Oklahoma for a while, and she recently moved to Phoenix, Arizona. I'm trying to figure out how to make people mods, and it's just not working over on Periscope. Hey Matilda, how are you? I don't understand how to do it. I'll have to figure that out later, I suppose. Okay, have to do that later. So let's have a little look at the statement, the probable cause statement. I will warn you, it's pretty full on. Why isn't my OBS working? I haven't seen Prepper in forever. Where is Prepper? Is Prepper okay? Okay, so let's have a look. The first page is pretty boring. It just gives you her case number, her name, general information, 3 counts of first-degree murder. She was fingerprinted. She has a DNA sample given to them. Question 3 is interesting. It says, is there any indication the defendant is an alcoholic, an addict, mentally disturbed, physically ill? It's interesting that nothing was put in there, but a lot of these actually weren't answered. Well, if someone sees Prepper, can they tell him that I miss him? Hey, open minds. Okay. Down here it says circumstances of the offense. Defendant killed her 3 children. Easy. The second page is pretty much the same. The part that we're looking for is the probable cause statement. Let me make sure that looks good on screen for you guys. See how there we go. Now, let me know, guys, is that too small for you, or can you all see the writing. Yeah, he's probably partying for his birthday. Good old preps. Let me know what you think about the screen, if you can see it properly or not. I will read it though. How old were they? So 3, 1, and 7 months. It's gonna be, it's hard. This is really hard. It's blurry. Okay. Just cover the whole screen. Sorry, animals. You don't get a say. All right. How does that look now, guys? Put a 1 in the chat if it's okay, and a 2 if it's not great. Not that I know what I could do to help. Unfortunately, that's the best I can do. I am going to read it though. I might start reading it now. Okay, so there is some redacted information. I do know the names though, so I will go with what I know with the names. Not legible. It's blurry. I wonder why it's blurry. Okay, so let's do this. This is going to be hard though. On January 20th, 2020 at 19:20, which is 7:20 hours, officers with the Phoenix Police Department responded to a call of an unknown trouble at 2520 East Vineyard Road. Dispatch advised an unidentified female was calling to report 3 children under the age of 3 years old were found deceased inside the residence. Officers and fire personnel responded within several minutes and determined all 3 children, a 3-year-old male, 1-year-old female, and 7-month-old female, were deceased. And redacted aunt, and I do believe that the aunt's name is Pearl, was also transported. Audio video Mirandized interviews were conducted with all parties involved. Redacted, so I'm assuming it could have been Pedro or Pearl, acknowledged Rachel had a methamphetamine addiction and had been acting strange the past several days. Redacted, last saw the children alive at approximately 1400 hours, 2 p.m. Redacted, and I do believe that this is Pearl. Pearl left the residence to pick up Redacted from work. I do believe that Pearl left the residence to pick up Pedro from work. Now, in this report, it says father of all 3 children, but I don't believe that's actually the case, because the youngest child, the 7-month-old girl, she had the same last name as he did, and the other children have her last name. So I'm not 100% sure. So, but they're all living together. So we have the 3 kids and Rachel living in a home with her great aunt Pearl and the father of the 7-month-old Pedro. Okay, so Pearl goes and picks up Pedro from work. Pedro. Rachel told Pearl she would put the children down for a nap whilst she was gone. I'm assuming it's Pearl returned home at approximately 1500 hours, 1 p.m. after picking up Pedro at work. Redacted was home by the time Redacted came back. I'm assuming that is... Actually, that might not be Pedro. There might be someone else involved that we don't know of. I'll have to come back to that. Redacted reported seeing the 3-year-old male and the 1-year-old female sleeping on the couch, and Rachel holding the 7-month-old female. Rachel told Redacted at approximately 30 minutes later she was going to her room to put the 7-month-old female down for a nap. So 1 p.m. they get home. Half an hour later, so at 1:30 she says she's going to put the 7-month-old down for a nap. Redacted did not see the 7-month-old female awake after Rachel took her into her bedroom. Rachel admitted to smothering each child, starting with the 1-year-old female. Rachel was playing with the 1-year-old female and wrestling on top of her. Rachel felt the 1-year-old female's breathing was obstructed but continued to impede her breath by placing her hand over the 1-year-old female's mouth. Rachel stated the 1-year-old female kicked as she did so, while the 3-year-old male yelled no at her in an attempt to get her to stop. Rachel knew she had killed the 1-year-old female when she stopped kicking Rachel. The 3-year-old male attempted to help the 1-year-old female by punching Rachel to no avail. Let's scroll this up. Rachel next chased the 3-year-old male and stated she was interrupted when Redacted and Redacted returned to the residence. Possibly Pearl and Pedro. Shortly after, Redacted spent some time playing with the 3-year-old male. Rachel took the 3-year-old male into the back bedroom where she changed his underpants. As Rachel did so, she placed the 3-year-old male on the floor of the bedroom, straddled him one of her legs. Straddled him with one of her legs and placed her hand over his nose and mouth. Rachel described seeing to the 3-year-old male as he's scratching her chest and pinching her while she placed her hand over his nose mouth. Rachel used her weight on top of the 3-year-old male, straddling him to smother him until he died. Rachel fed the 7-month-old female a bottle in her bedroom until she fell asleep. Rachel sang a song as she placed her hand over her face and impeded her breath. Rachel sang to the 7-month-old female until she became unconscious and died. Rachel placed all of the children in a position on the living room couch as if they were taking a nap. Rachel did not tell Redacted, I'm assuming it's Pearl and Pedro, what happened. So I read this when it came out a few days ago, and I just had to sit on it for a bit because it's so it's hard to know that the 3-year-old and the 1-year-old fought, and especially Zane, the 3-year-old boy. So again, their names: Zane is a 3-year-old male, the 1-year-old is Miraya, and the 7-month-old is Catalaya. And so what happened after that is sort of from what I know, I'm assuming that the great aunt then called the police, because Rachel didn't actually tell anyone what she did, and she sort of did it whilst other people were in the home, which is kind of crazy. It's crazy to think that they come home and Mira is already deceased, and then one of them plays with the 3-year-old Zane, and then after that he's killed, and to know that was happening whilst you were home, it's real. I feel so bad for those people that were in that home. That's just horrible. So then obviously one of them call 911 at 7:20, and then police come, and there was nothing that police or EMS or whoever could do for the children. They were already deceased, and declared deceased on arrival, unfortunately. She was taken into custody, obviously, and she did have a court date. And I do want to show you the video because it's really interesting. Let me get that up. She's in the video, she's very like meek and mild, and it's kind of a little confusing. So I'm assuming that maybe she was under the influence when this happened, or something happened to her brain chemicals because of the drug use. Yes, an open mind says CPS had custody and returned them. Yes. So there had been issues in the past with Zane, and Mira. They had been taken away from her in the past. There was a history with that because of her drug issues. So hey, Gypsy Rhiannon, I'm sorry I didn't see you come in. So sorry to hear soldier photos. Okay, so let's have a little look at the court appearance. Turn the music down. Now it's silent. There's dead air on the day after this happened. It's very interesting to me, so let's have a little listen. Let me just make sure that all of the sound is going to be good. All right. Let me pop this on for you. So this comes from USA Today. And this is from 4th Avenue Jail in Phoenix, which I think is the Maricopa County Superior Court.
Please state your name and date of birth.
Rachel Henry, 8/26/97.
I'm going to conduct your initial appearance. Do we have appearances by counsel in the Henry case?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Christopher Sammons on behalf of the state.
Thank you. Ma'am, you're here on a new case. You're accused of murder. 3 counts of murder in the first degree, class 1 felony. You're entitled to an attorney. One's going to be appointed for you. Your next court date in this matter is going to be January 28th, 8:30 in the morning, followed by a preliminary hearing January 31st at 8:45. Those hearings will be held at Superior Court Complex, downtown Phoenix. You'll get some paperwork in a moment with the date, the time, and the address. Does the state wish to be heard in this matter?
Yes, Your Honor. The state is asking for a bond of $3 million cash. The basis for that request, Your Honor, is first of all, obviously, the nature of the charges and the fact that there are 3 different victims in this case, all of whom are minors, and the fact that each of these charges carries a minimum sentence of life in prison. Additionally, Your Honor, we have concerns in terms of whether Ms. Henry is a flight risk. She has very minimal ties to Arizona. The information we have is that she's only lived here since June of 2019. She is not employed. Her ties are to Oklahoma, which is where she's from. Additionally, Judge, the information we have, and by her own admission, she has a history of drug addiction, specifically to methamphetamines. And my understanding is her kids have previously been removed from her home by DCS related to her drug addiction. So given all of that information, Judge, we are asking for a $3 million cash bond.
Thank you. Ma'am, you're under no obligation to speak here. Everything here is recorded, videotaped, could be used against you. That said, the state, as you heard, saw fit to send an attorney down and make an appearance and speak in your case. So in fairness, I'm going to give you the same opportunity. Is there anything you'd like to say regarding your release conditions in this matter?
I'm not getting released.
Okay. You're going to have a bond, a significant bond. It's $3 million. I'm actually going to make that a secured appearance bond of $3 million. Secured bond means you can work with a bail bondsman. They usually need 10% plus some collateral. 10% in your case is still $300,000. If you post that bond and get released, you'll be subject to supervision to the pretrial services agency. May not possess any weapons, no drugs, so without prescription. If you're unable to post that bond, you'll remain in custody, and they'll take you to see the judge for that next hearing, which again is on the 28th. Do you have any questions?
How can I see bail bondsman?
You have access to a phone in your cell. Right next to the phone are various phone numbers for bonding companies. Give them a call.
Okay, how would I be able to get money?
I'm sorry.
I don't know how I'd be able to get any money. I don't have a job or anything.
Well, it's a sizable amount, I acknowledge. And if But if you're unable to post that bond, like I said before, you'll remain in custody since your next court date. I do think a sizable bond is appropriate based on the accusations against you and the nature of the charges.
Okay.
Anything else?
What would be the terms of the release?
I'm having a hard time hearing you, ma'am. I need you to speak up.
What would be the terms of the release if I was able to get the bond?
The weapons, the drugs that have prescription, don't miss your court dates. There'll be some other general ones that'll all be on the paperwork. All right. Unless you need anything else to write and sign that black pad, you just sign it to get that order that I mentioned.
So that was the day after she killed her 3 children. So a little recap in case anyone is just joining us. We are covering the case of Rachel Henry, a 22-year-old woman living in Phoenix, Arizona. And on January 20th, she killed her 3 children, her 3-year-old named Zane, her 1-year-old named Miraya, and a 7-month-old Catalaya, by smothering them. She was arrested and charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder and is being held on a $3 million bail, which means she has to post $300,000 bond. She doesn't have a job, so I mean, she's obviously going to be staying in the jail. I would assume. She is a known meth user and has lost custody in the past of the 3-year-old and the 1-year-old because of her drug issues. So I wanted to look a little into when her next court dates are. So let me just see if I can find the link for that. Let me see what everyone else is saying though in the chat. So Open Mind says she doesn't understand the ramifications of what she did. I don't think she does either. I think there's something going on there, whether it's like Soldier Photos thinks postpartum depression, or whether it's a mix with that and possibly the drug use. Maybe it's affected the chemicals, the brain chemicals, and the makeup of that. Something is going on here. And then I want to look into as well the CPS stuff as well. But yeah, it's just really interesting to watch that because you can see her being very meek and yet the day before she killed her 3 children. So her next court hearings, the court hearing on the 21st was just an initial court date. On the 28th, on the 28th there's a court date, a status conference, and then on the 31st there's a preliminary hearing as well. So we do have a couple of dates coming up. So tomorrow for you guys, she has a status conference. Same day as Crystal Kenny. Crystal Kenny is going to be in court tomorrow for her sentencing. So that will be very, very interesting. Hey, Canadian Witches. Hey, Nicole A. How are you? How are you guys? Okay, so I want to also show you the home, but I'm just trying to find the article that I saved. Saved 2 articles I wanted to read. One of them is about what her friend said, and the other is about the CPS. And I don't want to know what song she's saying to the kids. I just don't know if I can handle knowing the song that she's saying to the kids as she took their life. It's just horrible. Okay, so I found them. I found my links. Oh, thank you, Jay Suarez. I really appreciate that. I try and make sure that I have all of the facts facts matter to me a lot. And I'm trying to be as respectful as I can. It's really hard to cover cases like this. I try and do it without thinking about it, to be perfectly honest with you, because I just feel like I want to cry every time. It's been difficult. It's difficult with a couple of cases, especially Kevin Bacon's, knowing his friends now. It's just hard. So a former friend of Rachel's has actually spoken out and has said that she did actually act out in anger a lot towards her friends. This is an article from AZ Family. I'll post the link in the description so that you can watch that. I'll do that for do that now whilst I'm thinking of it. And then the video we watched. There is a GoFundMe as well. I'll add in the description, and that is a GoFundMe started by Pearl, who is the aunt, and the fund is to raise money to have, I think the family must all live in Oklahoma, and there's a couple of photos I'll show you as well. So let me get working with all of these sources. Where's the GoFundMe? And if one of the mods, I'm just about to pop on, I'll do it. It's just easier if I do that. Talking to myself. Okay. GoFundMe. Okay, there's the GoFundMe in the comments. I'm good, Canadian Witches. A little hot today. It's been so hot here. Why were the kids returned to her before? So we're going to have a little look at that now. We'll finish off this article with about the friend. So the friend made this comment. She would get mad or irritated out of nowhere. She would act as if she was wrestling around with them, her friends. Or she would just she would dig her nails into their arms because she always wore these fake nails. Or she would bite them or hit them or just anything like that. She said that she cut ties with Rachel because of her behavior. The quote is, "I just completely stopped talking to her. I didn't want anything to do with her." So that's one of her friends that spoke out. The former friend said she never met the children, but she did see aggressive behavior from Rachel towards friends in high school. When they said she did that with her daughter, I think it was that she was playing around with her and wrestling her and then hurt her. She did that to her mum. She did that to her friends. I'm surprised she would do that to a baby. Honestly, I want to know what everybody else wants to know. I want to know how she can do anything like that to her own babies. So that came from a friend who didn't want to be identified to reporters. So let's have a little look at the court documents that have been released. Now, I don't have the actual court documents. If anyone has the court documents and wants to send them to me, I would really appreciate that. So it's the court documents for the CPS calls. But so it doesn't go back just like one or two occasions. It starts back in 2016. In 2016, there was a domestic dispute call between Rachel and her mother. In 2017, in the April, there was a call between Rachel Henry and her partner, Pedro. Henry told police at the time that Pedro had threatened her and their then 6-month-old child. She claimed he stole money and that she was afraid he would hurt her and the child. She told police she would seek a protective order. at some point after Oklahoma's Department of Human Services, which handles CPS, started doing welfare checks. So the welfare checks start when Zane is 6 months old. So that's crazy. In 2018, July 4th and 5th, DHS attempts to reach Rachel and Pedro. She tells DHS she's in the process of getting away from him, and DHS was in the process of helping to protect her and the children from him. So, okay, so I'm assuming then that all 3 of the children are his. Hey Sarah, how are you? From what I'm gathering, it looks like all 3 of the children are his. And then in the it doesn't actually say the date here, but DHS told her to leave where they were living, and if she was seen with him again, that DHS would actually take the children. In August of 2018, they do another welfare check after a report of the children being left alone. So that would be Zane, the 3-year-old, and the 1-year-old Mira. Henry and Pedro had been pulled over on August 28th with no children inside. And Henry was uncooperative with police when asked where the children were. 2 days later, during a DHS welfare check, Rachel had returned from the grocery store. DHS asked to see the children, who had been hidden in another room. When asked if they were left alone, Rio said he was there. DHS told Henry that she was not to be with him if she wanted to keep her children. They took the children from them and placed them with Rio's grandmother for a week. So that was the end of 2018. So Fox 10 Phoenix got a statement from the Oklahoma Department of Human Services after the children were sadly killed. And it says, at the time of the deaths, the children of Rachel Henry were not in the custody of the Oklahoma Department of Human Services. OKDHS has been contacted by Arizona law enforcement and is cooperating fully with their efforts. And apparently an internal investigation report is reportedly underway. And apparently a family member also acknowledged domestic disputes, but didn't say anything else about them. So let me add that source in as well. That came from Fox 10 Phoenix. Save that. And let's have a little look now at the location that they were found. Pull that up. So they were found at 2520 East Vineyard Road. And this is the home that they were found at. I'll just wait for that to load for you guys. You can definitely tell it's Arizona. Definitely Arizona. So this is sadly the place where the children were killed. Another house close by, but let me go back out a little bit for a second. Street. Yeah, they're all cars. I wonder what that is. That's the location. Wish we could go further up, closer to it, but close as we can get. And she and Rachel lived there with obviously the kids, with Pedro and then her great aunt. And they moved there in June of 2019. There is the home. It does look arid there, I guess, because of it being Arizona. Not 100% sure. Now, the great aunt, Pearl, has actually spoken out. There was a vigil the other day. Let me just check the date. I think it was around the 22nd or the 23rd. There was a vigil for the kids. And it was really sweet because, let me see if I can find a photo. There was lots of candles that were lit. There were a lot of toys that were left in a little memorial. Let me see if I can find photos. Vigil. Yeah, please click on the subscribe and click for notifications of when I go live. I cover all different types of true crime cases as well as missing persons cases, and I will be live again on Wednesday American time to discuss the latest with the Kevin Bacon Mark Latunsky case. I found some very interesting information out that I'm looking forward to sharing with you then. Okay, so here's a couple of photos. I've got one in the daytime, one at night time. It's really sweet, but it's kind of heartbreaking at the same time. So this was the night of the vigil. That could possibly be the kid's father in the photo. Let me just see if I can confirm. Hey Debbie, welcome in. Hope you're well. I just want to confirm. Yes, sadly that is the father in that photo. That's just heartbreaking. So they had a little vigil set up. I think it's at the home. Yeah, it is. It's outside the home where this happened. And so it's just so many candles and teddy bears and balloons. Horrible. That poor man. And to know he was in the home when this happened as well. That's just so shocking. And then I have a photo in the daytime as well. And it sort of shows you the magnitude. Well. Yeah, he would be feeling very, very broken right now. I just can't imagine. So there is a GoFundMe, as I mentioned, that is being put in the chat. It's for costs for the children to be moved from Arizona to Oklahoma, where they lived for the majority of their lives. I'm assuming that's where most of their family are as well. So if you can donate, that would be awesome. If you can't, sharing actually makes a huge difference. So that's great to to get that out there and share that, as well as sharing this video as well, so we can so other people can see and know about these children, because this is just so heartbreaking. So yeah, that vigil happened a couple of days after, and then I wanted to mention about what Pearl said at the vigil. So this is from AZ Family, another article from them. And she was interviewed, and this is what she said. He, the father, yelled, "Tia, the baby's not breathing," and I ran in the house and started giving the baby CPR, and I told Rachel to call 911, and she was sitting by me, staring at her phone. I grabbed the phone and told her, "You do CPR, you're a CNA." So I did know this. She actually had a certificate in nursing back in, and that happened in Oklahoma. And apparently Rachel started doing CPR. She screamed and started giving CPR. Pearl recalled, "I called 911 and I was on the phone with 911 and I looked over. I was like, Mira and Zane, and I realized Mira wasn't breathing either, and I pulled her to the floor and started giving her CPR. I was like, no ma'am, no mummy, no. I tried to wake her up but I couldn't, and I looked at Zane and tried to push his chest too." This is horrific. She said officers arrived and took over CPR on Zane, but it was too late. None of the children were able to be revived. Pearl goes on to state at the vigil, "I want to thank the people who responded to the 911 call, to the first officer who got there and tried to help me resuscitate Zane, because I couldn't do both kids. Ugh. And just everybody who responded. I know they have to be feeling horrified like I am right now. I just want to thank them all for their help." And then she goes on to say, "I thought maybe she had overdosed the babies. She was always giving them medicine, even if they weren't sick." Hey Sophia, how are you? That's a bit of a worry. "I really thought that she accidentally gave them too much medicine and they stopped breathing, but it was more horrific than that. She actually took their lives. She suffocated them one by one." The children's father is... Oh, okay, so Pedro is Pearl's nephew, and said that the children have lived with her for about a year. "She gave me temporary guardianship of them for a minute, but not legally, just on paper. I didn't want them to get lost in the system, you know. And then Rachel moved into the home with them in June." Okay, so that makes sense. Now we can sort of understand the sort of living situation. So she moves in, Rachel moves in June. The kids were already there then. And Pearl says she could have stayed wherever she wanted. She didn't have to come here. But she came here and she wanted to be with her kids. She missed them. She was on the street and she wanted to straighten up and everything. She could have walked away at any time. She described that the children seemed happier with her than with their mother, but never understood why. That's alarming. Pearl goes on to state, "The day before or the night before, she was staring at Mira and I was looking at Mira, and Mira stopped eating and she kind of got like uncomfortable. And I was like, stop staring at her. You're making her not eat. What's wrong with you?" She said, "Nothing's wrong with me," and sat down and finished eating dinner. Also, she wishes she could go back in time. "I can't change it now. And that's killing me." That's so hard for her. What an awful... This is just awful. But I guess to know as well that she had a way out. You know, her kids were safe with someone else, and she came and this happened. Awful. So yeah, her next court date is tomorrow if you're in America. Technically it's here in Australia. It is today, which is kind of weird. And then on the 31st, she has another court appearance. So we will be looking out for what happens there. But I'm assuming she probably won't post bond, so she'll be in jail until she goes to trial. I'll be interested to see if she pleads guilty or not guilty. What do you guys think that she'll do? I'm not sure. So true, Lady Pegasus. There's so many cases at the moment of parents killing their children. I think there's been 3 in the last week or 2 that I know of. There was this case, the Celebration, Florida case with the Tot family. And then there was another case, and for the life of me, I've forgotten the name. Let me see, I wrote it down somewhere. Michael Island, he killed his wife and 3 kids. I was considering covering that one as well. It's just really, that one's really sad. He attempted to take his life in August, and he was actually in the ICU on life support. He obviously got out of the hospital, and then a couple of days ago he killed his wife and his kids, his 4-year-old son, his 3-year-old son, and his, I think, about 6-month-old baby. That's 3 in the last week. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around. Fence? Possibly, yeah. He's going the Mark Latunsky route. Lady Pegasus says, I read she put the 1-year-old in a wardrobe in the bedroom while she murdered Zane and the baby. Well, the 1-year-old died first. So I think it was Mira passed first, was killed first. Then the 3-year-old Zane was killed, and then the 7-month-old Catalaya was killed. So maybe she put Mira's body in the bedroom. I haven't read that, but if you find the article, can you email it to me or message it to me? Oh yeah, as well, that's an update I posted about in the Facebook group. Thank you very much for reminding me, Lady Pegasus. The case of the 2 missing kids, it's such a weird case. I know that I've totally blanked on the creator who's Gray Hughes is covered that case. It's a very sort of like in-depth case, but the mother and the father, Lori and Chad Daybell, they were both, Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell have been found in Hawaii, and they have until Thursday to physically produce was the words they used, the JJ and the little girl, and I've totally forgotten the little girl's name. So that's interesting as well. We're not sure whether they're actually alive or not. So that's, we should know in the next couple of days if they are alive. I hope they are. I really hope that they are. With this case with Rachel Henry, I don't know if I don't know what she'll plead. I don't know what's happened. I think she probably should have a psych evaluation, of course. But yeah, I don't know like what's going to happen as far as guilty, not guilty. There's just so many cases. It's kind of depressing, isn't it, guys? It's kind of depressing. It's hard. I've just been focused a lot on a couple of cases, but there's just every day there's a new case. every day, I don't know about you guys, but for me, every day I'm like, did that really happen? Did that really happen? There's just, I don't know. Can you guys, if you've been following true crime for a while, can you please tell me whether you think it's worse now, or there's more media coverage on it now, or it's the same as 20 years ago? I've been following true crime for like 15 years now, and I guess I follow more cases now that are happening in real time. I used to cover more cases. I used to look at cases that were already sort of solved, like historical cases. So maybe I'm not aware, but it just seems a lot worse. And it's a lot of, I don't know, there's this, in the last, say, 2 years, so many families, like a lot of filicide happening, or family annihilation. So Mel says media, Miss Justice says worse, Southern Mum says more everything, Canadian Witches media and worse, Lady Pegasus thinks it's getting worse, so does Julia. Debbie thinks more media coverage, easier to hear the news quickly. I think as well, I don't know what you guys think, but for me, I wonder whether the fact that true crime is kind of an in thing at the moment, and I know that sounds really awful to say, but it's true. I mean, I've always been into true crime, but now that it's sort of accepted as an interest, do you think maybe then the media are now covering it more? Mel says, a lot of cases don't even make the news. I think you're right though. People are struggling to keep their family fed, let alone having a holiday and downtime. That's really true as well. That's a really good point. Everyone just works and works and works, and then they snap. It seems like that's what happens. They snap. Guess that's why there's a TV show called Snapped. It's just, so I guess as well, because I wake up every morning, and when I wake up, being because I'm in Australia, I wake up and I see all of the news. And so I'm laying in bed every morning. It's probably not the best thing for my like mental health or whatever, that I wake up and I'm like, okay, so what's happened overnight? And it's just like, I really can't wrap my head around it sometimes. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty intense. It's gotten bad, more synthetic drugs. That's true as well. That's true. And you wonder what's in the drugs as well, because with the synthetic stuff, like, so this case, Rachel Henry's case, reminded me of another case, and I'm going to have to do a little Google so I can remember the name. I listened to, and this is another thing I should probably not do before bed, is listen to 911 calls. But it reminded me of a woman who had taken, I think she had taken something, and then she decapitated.
When Judy Smith showed up.
Don't YouTube that. Yeah, I found it. No, don't. Hang on one sec. Mute. I think this one happened in Texas. But it's worse than... Yeah, her 3-week. Okay, so this is the one. So I read about this case, and it reminded me a little bit about Rachel Henry's case. This woman in Texas in 2009, if you know true crime, you've probably heard the 911 call. She kills her 3-week-old. I think her sister actually calls 911, and she killed her 3-week-old and then I don't know if I want to say it out loud. I guess if we're into true crime, then you guys will have to handle it. She actually decapitated her infant and ate his toes and part of his brain, and it was because of postpartum depression and possibly having schizophrenia and some drug use. It's just, I don't have words. And apparently all of the officers that went to the scene and everyone involved were given counseling for an extended period of time because of how graphic the scene was as well. But it's just crazy because it happens so often. Yeah, everyone's faces, yeah. See, I think, I don't know, Mel, what do you think as another Australian? I think in America, funerals could possibly be more expensive because I think the culture in America is to bury your loved ones. And I think, please don't quote me on this and someone can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but here in Australia, cremation is the more, I do believe cremation is the more popular, I don't know if that's the right word, method of post-death. And I feel like maybe that's less expensive. I don't know. Oh, in Canada as well, really? That's interesting. And I think that in America you guys also do viewings and things, and that's not really I've been to a lot of funerals and I've only ever had one viewing, and when I actually say it out loud you guys will be horrified, and I realize now how wrong it was. I was about 11 and a classmate of mine, his little sister died and she would have been about 5 or 6, and so our entire class went to the funeral and they had an open casket for the viewing, and so she would have been about 4 or 5, but we weren't allowed to go up obviously in the viewing. That would have been ludicrous, but I'll always remember that little coffin. Yes, Amanda, this will be. I get you as well. I hate it when I come into the middle of a stream. I'm like, oh, gotta rewind. But this will still be up, and it's got some good stuff at the beginning. You can actually hear from Rachel. She talks during her first court appearance the day after the murders, which is crazy. We cremate. Mel wants a Viking funeral. Of course you do, Mel. I will be returned to dust. Catholics believe in viewing, so I had to see my mum. Oh, okay. See, yeah, I guess so. Cremation all the way for me. Weird topic, I guess, but at the same time, we all die. You're cremating. I read a lot of books by funeral home directors or people who work in crematoriums. They're kind of fascinating to me. Oh, thanks, Amanda. I'm going to be live on Wednesday, your time at 9 p.m. Eastern to do another stream about Kevin and Mark, because I have some more information that's come to light. So I'm looking forward to that stream. Well, that's totally your choice, Lady Pegasus, as well. I don't think that I think that death's important to talk about. I've learnt in the last couple of years that there is such thing as a good death. And I think that's why I'm handling everything that's happening with my dog Bella. For those that don't know, my dog Bella is terminal. And I'm handling it that way because I want her to have a good death. I want it to be positive. It's already all planned out. And some people think, oh, that's weird. But I think it's important to talk about these things. Me and my mum talk about it a lot. She wants... So I'm a huge John Mayer fan, for those that don't know, and which means that my mum's a huge fan, and she wants she wants Your Body is a Wonderland played at her funeral, which is kind of morbid, but it's really funny at the same time. She loves that song. Oh, that's really cool, Open Minds. That way your loved ones don't have to worry. Oh, that's lovely, Miss Justice. I like that. I like that. My cat passed away last February, and I had her cremated because she was an inside cat, and so I didn't like the idea of burying her. She's inside with me, and then Bella will be cremated and inside with me. I'm actually thinking, and I haven't actually said this to anyone yet, so of course I'll say it naturally publicly to people, but I'm actually thinking about using some of her cremains to make a necklace, or maybe some of her fur or something. I don't know. Keep her close to me. It really does, Renee, to make arrangements. And so because I'm chronically ill, I've spoken to my loved ones about that, and they're like, don't talk about that, that's depressing. And I think, no, it's important to talk about that. Talk about if you're going to be an organ donor as well. I think that's really key. We don't have enough people out there donating organs. Talk about that. Tell your loved ones what you're okay with, what organs you are comfortable with donating as well. You have 2 urns from your cats. You have your cat's ashes. I think it's important. Yeah, I think it's important. The urn that Princess is in is perfect. As well, I love it, and she's right next to me. It helps. I mean, I'd love to be a donor, but I don't know whether I'd be allowed to because I'm sick. So yes, I think it's good to talk about this sort of stuff. I think it's healthy. And I just read a book. The first book I read of 2020 was I love Caitlin Dowdy, and if you don't know who that is, she's actually a funeral director. She's written a couple of really fantastic books, and her last book was called Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs? And it's just all these questions about death that people don't ask. It was really fascinating, actually. I will mention that when we do our stream that I'm planning later in the week to talk about true crime books. That's really cool, Renee. I think it's awesome if people want to donate their bodies to science. I think that's amazing. Oh my gosh, Open Minds, you're going to make me cry. That is so beautiful. She says, I knew my dog was terminal. One day she could no longer get up. We carried her to the car. I stopped and bought her a hamburger. We took a ride, and later she died peacefully in my arms. That is so beautiful. I mean, horrible. Horrible. But the fact that you have that to me is a good death. That's incredible. That's really special. She was 17. Oh, she lived a good life. I guess that's what I'm finding is hard, is Bella's only 8. It's kind of hard. But you just have to accept it. Yeah, no, Mel, I know what you meant. Hey, TTNZ, how are you? Oh, that's a really cool idea as well. So actually, TTNZ, the book that I was just talking about, Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs? I know it's a really bad title. It's, for some, it's insensitive, but that's just what it is. But they actually talk about that in that book. I'll see if I can listen back to it, because apparently in America, you can't do that. apparently some people back in the whatever time, the olden days, you know, they actually had their animals killed when they were dying. Caitlin Doherty is really funny. She actually has a YouTube channel that you should check out. It's called, it's Mortician. Let me just check. Mortician. What is it called? It's a good title. Ask a Mortician, I think it's called. Yeah, Ask a Mortician. Let me put the link in. Her books are really good. She has a movement called The Good Death, or A Good Death, and it's really amazing. It's what's made me not fear death anymore. My sister is very, very afraid of death. Caitlin doesn't need me plugging her channel, but you really should go and have a look at it. So yeah. She's got some good stuff, and she's written a couple of really great books. You love her? Yeah, she's awesome. She's really nice and funny and that sort of stuff. So anyway, I will be back on Wednesday in America, which is Thursday in Australia. We will be going over things with the Kevin Bacon, Mark Latunsky case. I found out a lot of more information that I think's important to bring up. And then I think the stream after that, unless something happens, I really want to do our stream on true crime books. Because I love reading true crime books, and there's some that I really, really want to share with you guys. And I want you to share with me. I'm going to be writing down book recommendations, and maybe like once a month we can chat about the books that we've been reading in the world of true crime. I think that would be fun. So thank you everyone for joining me. Don't forget, if you're new here, welcome. If you're interested in true crime, please subscribe to my channel. Completely free. Turn on the notification bell, because YouTube doesn't let you know when the people that you love upload or go live anymore unless you have that bell clicked on. And give the video a like if you enjoyed it. And I will see you guys again on Wednesday for Americans at 9 p.m. and for Australians it will be Thursday 1 p.m. Sydney time. Take care everyone. Have a lovely rest of your day or night wherever you are, and I will see you then. Bye guys.